from the Cliff House in Austin, Texas. Really excited to be here, hanging out with a beautiful view of Lake Travis in the background. And I'm hanging out here for a few days. Gonna get to meet Courtney Johnson, who is someone I've been working with. I think her work is absolutely tremendous. I think she's a genius. And I've said that a lot. When I find people who I think are crushing it, I just can't keep my mouth shut. So if you don't already follow her, check her out. I don't know that she does much on YouTube here, but she's on Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, I've tagged her in all the stories that I've been putting up today. And you can find her on TikTok as well as LinkedIn. So I'm here at her little Airbnb spot. It's absolutely adorable. And I've been thinking a lot about pendulums specifically and how not to be affected by pendulums. And I want to make a proper video about this because, well, frankly, it warrants one. But the thing about it is that I don't have a whole lot of time between right now and everything else that I have to do today, which is fine. I'm excited. I'm about to go meet a friend of mine at a Rosicrucian meetup and talk to some people who are into this esoteric woo-woo stuff, which is going to be great. And then I've got to go from there immediately over to a show at a spot called the Green Room to do a guest spot on a comedy show there. The folks at Stony Baloney Productions are kind enough to accommodate me and put me up on stage to tell some silly jokes. So I'm excited about that. That'll be a lot of fun. And I'm around Austin the next few days. If you're in Austin and you want to link up, shoot me a message, hit me up, let me know what you got going on. I'm still kind of playing some things by ear, but I'm doing some spots, comic stuff, and then I'm gonna be making some content and some videos and stuff. This is a perfect place to do it. That's enough of a preamble, I think. So recently I've been thinking a lot about pendulums, and I've discovered some other works that sort of lend themselves well to the idea of pendulums and how not to be affected by them. This is something that is constantly talked about in reality transurfing. It's something that's a huge, profound insight in the book. It's a second chapter, and I remember when I discovered this idea, it completely changed the way that I viewed the world. Well, a couple of things that I've learned, especially over the past few months, is that we can sit around and read and pontificate and talk about this stuff day in, day out, and frankly, we're not gonna see much change. In the Bhagavad Gita, if you'll notice, the oldest book in the history of the world, as far as we know, Arjuna is forced to take action. He's forced essentially to either fight or give up. And Krishna, who is God incarnate in the book, says, hey, dude, I mean, you can not fight. I know you don't want to fight your family and stuff. Or you can just give up and you're not a warrior anymore and you'll be a laughingstock for the rest of your life. So the choice is yours. It's essentially up to you. And I find that the same is true for each of us in spirituality. We can either sit around and pontificate and guess and read magic books and cast spells and do all these types of things. Or we can get out there and actually put these principles to work. And so I want to encourage you to do that because there's really no other way to understand what's happening except for experientially. And experientially is the key to not being affected by pendulums. Experience. I just want you to think of that word, experience. Experience. So when we are reacting to pendulums, we are reacting to a stimulus and we are responding to that stimulus. That stimulus is an experience, okay? So that stimulus hits us. It's an emotion that we feel in our body. And it's very real. It's a raw experience that we're having in our body. And when we feel that, what happens is we make a judgment about it very fast. We are like, oh, this is a feeling of this, and I feel bad, and I don't like it. So I want it to be gone, right? And so we create this story. So there is a label and then a story, and those are attached to the experience that we're having. Now, if we were to, instead of define the experience, just experience the experience for what it is, and allow it to be what it is, it would have a lot less of an impact. I want you to think about a baby, a little baby. Now, a baby doesn't have a story about what it experiences. A baby just experiences whatever it feels, and when it's hungry, it cries. You know, when it cries, it cries. I mean, it wants something, it cries, it's just feeling the emotion, it's just experiencing it. And it doesn't have a lid yet to kind of put these experiences in, and it doesn't have a label to say this is a bad experience or a label to say this is a good experience. It doesn't have that. It's just purely experiencing whatever is happening in the moment, in the raw, as experience. Okay? So when we take away that story, when we take away those labels, what are we really left with? That's my question. What are we left with when we take away the labels and the stories that we attach to our experience? I think we get a little bit of insight into what Buddha was talking about here. And I think that this can help us not be so reactive when it comes to pendulums. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Let's take two different emotions. Let's take anxiety and let's take anticipation. Anxiety is bad. We don't want that. We want to push that out of our body. We don't want to feel it. No. Anticipation is good. My grandfather used to say it was the best part. I remember he would tell us before we went fishing the night before, he'd say, all right, anticipation of going out and catching all the fish that we're going to catch tomorrow. The anticipation is the best part. Well, what a letdown, Pawpaw, you know? I never wanted to hear that as a kid. I just wanted to go fishing. I was excited. But he was not wrong, because as I was laying on the couch, waiting for 5:30 a.m., which I would never do ordinarily, eyes wide awake, so excited, thinking of all the fish we were going to catch and all the fun we were going to have and all the fish we were going to eat that night. That was more fun than the actual fishing trip itself. I hate to say that because I have great memories of the fishing trips that we took. We had great times. But if I'm being completely honest, the best part was thinking about the trip that we were going to have. It was more so that than it was even experiencing it the next day. The expectations were never met for what I had conjured up in my head. And the experience that I felt was joyful and exciting and all of those things. But that was an experience. That was having an experience. And it wasn't really defined. It wasn't defined in those moments. It was just a fantasy, an imagination. And then as I grow older, I start to notice how many labels and how many stories we attach to the emotions that we're having. The emotions, like I said, think of a baby, a little baby. It just feels. It just experiences. Think about the heart. The heart doesn't think or speak. It feels and knows. The heart feels and knows. That's what it does. That's what our emotions are doing in every single moment. And it's okay. Now our mind jumps in and it's like, well, we have to define this. We have to decide whether this is good or bad. And this is why Tufty calls us snails. Because we have one emotional experience, we're like, this is bad. And then we have another emotional experience, we're like, this is good, right? Anticipation, good. Anxiety, bad. Take away the label, it's the same feeling. There's no difference between either one of those emotions. Anxiety is the same thing as anticipation. It's just one we label a certain way, the other we label another. So when we strip away the story, when we strip away the label and the definition, the experience is just raw and unchanged in itself. And I believe this is why Buddha says that life is suffering. It's not that we're suffering all the time. I remember the first time I heard that, I was so pissed. I was like, how could you? You just ruined my life. Life is suffering because of the story that we attribute to the way that we feel. Whatever is happening right now is happening. If you're hanging out with someone and you're thinking about the way that they feel, and you're constantly adjusting the way that you're reacting in accordance to how they feel, are you really hanging out with that person? Or are you putting yourself through a ton of stress, anxiety, and worry about something that is going to be an ebb and flow and up and down experience? Sometimes people are going to be tired. Sometimes people are going to be sad. Sometimes people are going to be excited. People are going to feel this full range, and so are you. And the interaction's always going to go up and down and up and down and up and down. And imagine just being with someone and not defining every single range of emotions. In fact, we want the range of emotions. Think about a story. Think about a movie that you've seen. In every scene, something is different happening to that character. Something positive, then something negative, then they have the worst day of their life, and then they followed up with the best day of their life. And then at the end of the movie, what happens in every hero's journey? The character discovers something brand new about themselves. Christopher Vogler talks about this. There are two hero's journeys. There's the external hero's journey that we see on the screen, but there's also the internal hero's journey that we get to experience internally, that the character in the movie, which is you, right, in this metaphor, experiences internally. They discover something new about themselves. It's not that they get what they want. They get actually something slightly different than what they want because they change. So they're having these experiences, full range, up and down, up and down. So think about your life as a movie. When that bad thing happens, when you have anxiety, are you anxious or are you anticipating? What's the difference? Is there a difference? What if we could just lift that story and lift that label away and just have the raw experience? Is that not what the Buddhist monks are doing? Is that not why Buddha said life is suffering? I mean, I welcome your thoughts. And I want to say, hi, cruel summer girly. It's good to see you. Much love. Abhinav Sharma, hi, hello, how are you? Thanks for being here on the live stream. I was saying at the beginning that I wanted to make a proper video, and I'll make a couple over the next couple of days about this exact topic, about exactly what I'm talking about here. I just didn't have the time to be able to sit down and set up my camera and do all of that and do like a nice audio, but I will. I'm going to make a video about this. I just wanted to do a quick live while this was on my mind. I wanted to say hello. I wanted to show off this cool place that I'm staying at here in Austin. The Cliff House is really dope. And when I came in here, I saw this bookshelf full of books, and it was kind of cool because I discovered the very first book I ever read in spirituality. And I forgot I even read this. This is a book by Deepak Chopra, which he has a reputation. And I'll be honest, I'm not like the biggest fan of him all the way around, right? But this book was phenomenal. Look how small it is too. Super easy to read. And I remember reading this, just before I woke up, if you will, right? Just before I started to see the world in a completely different manner. And this was like a little seed for me. So there's a lot of things that Deepak Chopra teaches and talks about that I don't agree with. But that doesn't mean that that book isn't extremely valuable. In fact, it is. And I highly recommend checking it out. And it brought me back, to many, many years ago when I first read that book. This is the very first book I ever read. Frank Puma, does anybody have any advice or words of wisdom before I start the next chapter of my life, where I transform into the most prolific and inventive bank robber America has ever seen? Buddy, I just want to say good luck. I mean, especially now. I would say, advice-wise, learn about AI. I would say that your AI is going to be your friend in this, and you might want to just hop into the crypto space, you know, if you're going to be an inventive bank robber, because I think things have kind of changed as far as things go. But before we get out of here, I just want to say thank you guys. I'm going to make a proper video about this. I hope that like gives you some seeds to think about. I'm thinking about it, and I want to hear your thoughts. So comment below. Let me know what you think about what I had to say. What's the difference between anticipation and anxiety, other than the label that we put on it? And from there, I want to leave you with a glorious view of Lake Travis here in Austin, Texas. And follow me on Instagram if you don't already. You're welcome, Frank, for the advice. Much love. I wish you the best. I'll send you my wallet link here soon. Yeah, enjoy this view. Lake Travis here in lovely Austin, Texas. And yeah, if you're in Austin, shoot me a message. Come see me. Come say hi. Come watch me do a few jokes on stage. And yeah, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Yeah, please let me know your thoughts. I do want to hear those. Because I've been thinking a lot about this, you know, what is it other than the raw experience? When we take that label away, what happens? Have an awesome day. Thank you so very much for watching this video. Thank you so very much for being a subscriber. And I am going to be making some videos this week, so please do stick around, hang out, and yeah, share. Peace.